want to play a clip of Tucker Carlson talking about Sidney Powell last night, one of the lawyers on Trump's team, and the fact that in the last week he's requested many, many times that they give him the proof, and that she has not given him the proof of the algorithm manipulation that she says is going on.
We took Sidney Powell seriously. We had no intention of fighting with her. We've always respected her work. We simply wanted to see the details. How could you not want to see them? So we invited Sidney Powell on the show. We would have given her the whole hour. We would have given her the entire week, actually, and listened quietly the whole time at rapt attention. That's a big story. But she never sent us any evidence, despite a lot of requests, polite requests, not a page. When we kept pressing, she got angry and told us to stop contacting her. When we checked with others around the Trump campaign, people in positions of authority, they told us Powell has never given them any evidence either, nor did she provide any today at the press conference. Powell did say that electronic voting is dangerous, and she's right. We're with her there. But she never demonstrated that a single actual vote was moved illegitimately by software from one candidate to another. Not one. So why are we telling you this? We're telling you this because it's true. And in the end, that's all that matters, the truth.
Very strong words from Tucker Carlson about Sidney Powell. And I understand why he's frustrated with Sidney Powell, one of Trump's main lawyers and looking into fraud, because he offered her the whole show, 45 minutes of airtime, minusing the commercials. And she responded back, oh, I can't just go on for 5 minutes. I would need more time to present my truth, and I'm too busy investigating what's going on. Well, I mean, here's the problem with that. He did offer you an hour, and the press conference you didn't get covered by the media because they're shutting you out. You would have had one of the biggest audiences in media out there for you and Giuliani to go on his show. All you have to do is provide him with the proof of the algorithm. It's November 20th. The year is 2020. That's 11/20/2020. Alex Jones here on the road. I was just at the Georgia Guidestones. I'm about to enter back into Atlanta, and we're going to be demonstrating again at the Capitol building for several hours today with the protesters. More and more have been arriving. As most of you know, Georgia did exactly what Trump and Giuliani predicted. They ran the recount the exact same way. That's not what the president asked for. He asked for the signatures to be verified. He asked for investigations into all the missing ballots that have now been confirmed. But the fight is far from over. They were going to certify the key Michigan election in Detroit until it turned out the people that were being threatened to certify it went public. The great news is the president met, we now learned yesterday, with the leaders of the Republican House and Senate there in Michigan. And that's really got the Democrats and their fraudsters in the deep state scared, because this has all been illegitimate. And when there's proof of fraud, there's massive proof of fraud, it's got to be the legislatures that call emergency sessions. That's why we've been in Georgia pushing for an emergency session to be called. We don't know if the governor's going to certify today or tomorrow. It was the same bureaucrats and rhino Republicans that have said that the recount yesterday did show basically the same numbers. Trump gained some votes, but it's at about 13,000 votes now, more for Biden. Remember, Trump was way ahead until days and days after they had frozen the election that night and then found all of these magic ballots. It's also been confirmed that tens of thousands of ballots are not creased. They've not been folded. They've not been in a machine. They've not been in an envelope. And a perfect machine on the Scantrons has bubbled them in. But again, CNN stonewalls and says over and over and over again, along with all the other corporate establishment media, that there is no fraud, there is no proof, there's nothing happening. But now CNN has the headlines of, you should be scared, you should be concerned, there's danger, what Trump's doing with the legislatures. Yeah, because you've been caught with your fraud, just like Russiagate, just like Ukrainegate, just like everything else. And if the establishment corporate media can't hoodwink people into buying their gaslighting, their mass hoax, then that's game over for them. So Trump has a duty, not just a right, to stand up to this fraud and say no to it. I'm not going to go back over all the numbers, but he won bigger in the battleground states than he did 4 years ago until they quit the counting. And remember what happened in Atlanta? Oh, at 10:30 at night, a water main broke. So for 4 hours, they had to stop counting. The truth is they put cardboard over the windows. There's video of this, and continue to count, running Joe Biden ballots through 3 times a piece, the same ballot, until they were able to go past Trump. And where were they counting those? Inside the CNN Center, where they set up the vote counting. You cannot make up the irony. CNN doesn't just steal the truth from us. They steal our birthright, our heritage. I've been all over Atlanta. There's Trump signs all over the place in Atlanta. You don't even see Biden signs. When you're outside Atlanta, it's all you see is Trump signs. And everybody I talk to is saying the same thing. You know, how is it that Trump did twice as good with Hispanic Americans, 3 times better than he did with black Americans just 4 years ago, but they're to tell us to believe that white males went against the president, and that's magically how this happened? Yeah, you mean a bunch of old, dead white people? Some of which have been dead for 100 years, 80 years, tens of thousands of them. It's all admitted. But CNN and others say there's no proof. Gaslighting. We're going to go to break, come back. Owen Schroyer is going to be here. I want to comment on Tucker Carlson, what he had to say last night about Sidney Powell and more. But remember, InfoWars is the light of liberty. It's actually exploding under this crisis because people know with the censorship, the one place to find the real dead-on analysis is Infowars.com, Newswars.com, and Band.video. Now, I want to play a clip of Tucker Carlson talking about Sidney Powell last night, one of the lawyers on Trump's team, and the fact that in the last week he's requested many, many times that they give him the proof, and that she has not given him the proof of the algorithm manipulation that she says is going on. Now, I have some comments on this, but first, let's play a few minutes of what Tucker Carlson had to say last night, and I'll come back and give you the actual breakdown. Stay with us.
By former prosecutor Sidney Powell, who has also served as General Mike Flynn's lawyer. For more than a week, Powell has been all over conservative media with the following story. This election was stolen by a collection of international leftists who manipulated vote tabulating software in order to flip millions of votes from Donald Trump to Joe Biden. The other day on television, Powell said of Trump that when the fraud is finally uncovered, quote, "I think we'll find he had at least 80 million votes." In other words, rigged software stole about 7 million votes in this election. Here's some of what Powell said today about the software.
One of its most characteristic features is its ability to flip votes. It can set and run an algorithm that probably ran all over the country to take a certain percentage of votes from President Trump and flip them to President Biden, which we might never have uncovered had the votes for President Trump not been so overwhelming in so many of these states that it broke the algorithm that had been plugged into the system. And that's what caused them to have to shut down in the states they shut down in.
That was a few hours ago, but Sidney Powell has been saying similar things for days. On Sunday night, we texted her after watching one of her segments. What Powell was describing would amount to the single greatest crime in American history. Millions of votes stolen in a day. Democracy destroyed. The end of our centuries-old system of self-government. Not a small thing. Now, to be perfectly clear, we did not dismiss any of it. We don't dismiss anything anymore, particularly when it's related to technology. We've talked to too many Silicon Valley whistleblowers. We've seen too much. After 4 years, this may be the single most open-minded show on television. We literally do UFO segments, not because we're crazy or had even been interested in the subject, but because there is evidence that UFOs are real and everyone lies about it. There's evidence that a lot of things that responsible people used to dismiss out of hand as ridiculous are in fact real. And we don't care who mocks it. The louder the Yale Political Science Department and the staff of the Atlantic magazine scream, "conspiracy theory," the more interested we tend to be. That's usually a sign you're over the target. A lot of people with impressive-sounding credentials in this country are frauds. They have no idea what they're doing. They're children posing as authorities, and when they're caught, they lie, and then they blame you for it. We see that every day. It's the central theme of this show, and will continue to be. So that's a long way of saying we took Sidney Powell seriously. We had no intention of fighting with her. We've always respected her work. We simply wanted to see the details. How could you not want to see them? So we invited Sidney Powell on the show. We would have given her the whole hour. We would have given her the entire week, actually, and listened quietly the whole time at rapt attention. That's a big story. But she never sent us any evidence, despite a lot of requests, polite requests, not a page. When we kept pressing, she got angry and told us to stop contacting her. When we checked with others around the Trump campaign, people in positions of authority, they told us Powell has never given them any evidence either, nor did she provide any today at the press conference. Powell did say that electronic voting is dangerous, and she's right. We're with her there. But she never demonstrated that a single actual vote was moved illegitimately by software from one candidate to another. Not one. So why are we telling you this? We're telling you this because it's true. And in the end, that's all that matters, the truth. It's our only hope. It's our best defense. And it's how we're different from them. We care what's true, and we know you care too. That's why we told you. Maybe Sidney Powell will come forward soon with details on exactly how this happened and precisely who did it. Maybe she will. We are certainly hopeful that she will. What happened with the vote counting this month, and at the polling places in Detroit, and the polling places in Philadelphia, and so much else, actually matters. It matters no matter who you voted for. It matters whether or not you think this election is already over. Until we know the answers to those questions conclusively and we can agree on them, this country will not be united.
Very strong words from Tucker Carlson about Sidney Powell. First, let me just say I've been friends with Tucker Carlson for 10 years. He listens to my show. I listen to his show. I think he's got some of the best guests and best analysis and the most courage of anybody on mainstream television or even radio, for that matter, other than InfoWars. And I understand why he's frustrated with Sidney Powell, one of Trump's main lawyers and looking into fraud, because he offered her the whole show, 45 minutes of airtime, minusing the commercials. And she responded back, oh, I can't just go on for 5 minutes. I would need more time to present my truth, and I'm too busy investigating what's going on.
All right, Sidney, I want you to respond to what Tucker Carlson said last night, Sidney. I don't know if you watched it, but Tucker Carlson said that he had invited you on his show to share evidence of the software flipping votes, and he said you got angry and refused to provide evidence for your claims of voting software flipping votes. How do you respond to Tucker Carlson? Did you get angry with the show because they texted you and asked you to please provide evidence of what you're alleging?
No, I didn't get angry with the request to provide evidence. In fact, I sent an affidavit to Tucker that I had not even attached to a pleading yet to help him understand the situation, and I offered him another witness who could explain the mathematics and statistical evidence far better than I can. I'm not really a numbers person. But he was very insulting, demanding, and rude, and I told him not to contact me again in those terms.
Well, I mean, here's the problem with that. He did offer you an hour, and the press conference you didn't get covered by the media because they're shutting you out. You would have had one of the biggest audiences in media out there for you and Giuliani to go on his show. All you have to do is provide him with the proof of the algorithm. Now, that said, there is proof of the algorithm. The problem is Sidney Powell is not a mathematician. She's not a software engineer. She's not a statistician. And there are a whole group, 4 different groups. I've talked to Trump's lawyers, people that are right here in Georgia, high level. There are 4 corporate groups that have scanned and looked at the vote anomalies in Michigan and Pennsylvania and Georgia and several other states. And it is basically the exact same shaving of numbers and manipulation that is statistically impossible. They simply need to present the information that those groups have garnered, the software engineers have found, and give it to Tucker Carlson. Anyone with their own eyeball can see that as soon as they close the polls prematurely in Georgia, in Michigan, other areas, that instead of a organic circle or curve, it went straight up for Biden in all those states. So that's what the computers are picking up. And I've interviewed Bev Harris and all the other experts about Dominion, about all these software companies that have been banned in most states. My God, it's famous how they've been caught. It's famous how they put patches on the day before the election and weird groups for breaking in. But it's so complex that judges don't understand it, the general public doesn't understand it, and lawyers like Powell doesn't understand it. They're sitting there collating this and going over it, and they're waiting too long to present it. It needs to be given as the raw data to people like Tucker Carlson, myself, and others. Now, I'll give you another wrinkle in this. I was talking to one of the top lawyers that speaks to Trump daily. Trump has agreed for over a week that trying to go after algorithms and the voting machines is something that the public just doesn't understand. But what we do understand is law about signature verification. Now, you've got to have signature verification if you show up in person, but not supposedly, according to these agreements that were made by governors outside of law, outside the legislature, in the states. And so in Georgia and other areas, they weren't verifying the signatures. They weren't even looking at them. That's the violation of law. And bare minimum, there needs to be a new election in the 6 states that showed the anomaly. Hell, it needs to be in California, too. Judge ruled Newsom illegally said mail-in ballots had to be 100% in many counties and said that signatures to be waived. So that's the reality. And I understand Tucker Carlson's frustration. And I understand him putting Powell on the spot. And Powell's response is not good. But let me tell you, there is evidence with the algorithms. It is a reality, and it is a fact. We have them with the electronic voting machines and the massive algorithmic fraud that does show up in all the numbers. And there's no way that this person can be seen as the president. The globalists are arrogant, they're disconnected, and they have bitten off more than they can chew. Back to Owen Schroyer. I'll be reporting live from the Capitol coming up here in Georgia as we battle to try to stop the governor from certifying the fraudulent election. You already heard it's been certified. It's not true. The state level that reran the tabulation, running the same scam over again, has said it's certified, even though they found a bunch of new votes for Trump. We're calling for the legislature to be called in to do a real investigation. That's the constitutional angle. And Trump's also moving to get the legislature of Michigan to do it. And they've come out and said they found massive fraud at the Detroit level. And they have hundreds and hundreds of affidavits in dozens of counties. It's absolutely insane. They locked them up. They kicked the watchers out from Georgia to Pennsylvania to Michigan. This is so incredibly obvious, just like all the other frauds, all the other scams that the globalists have run. And now they're so desperate to legitimize the mainstream media, to legitimize the Democrats, to protect themselves from the prosecution they would go under for selling America out, not just Biden, but Obama and the Bushes and the Clintons. That's why the whole power structure has been endorsing Joe Biden and the foreign corporations and the communist Chinese, because they're the establishment, and Trump and the American people together are the resistance. The globalists are trying to censor what you can see and what you can share. Don't let them win. Go to our emergency election newsletter at Infowars.com/newsletter. Sign up for free and get intel they don't want you to have, and then share it. Infowars.com/newsletter. It's time to override the censors and get the truth out. The crisis is here. The Republic is fighting for its life. But thanks to your support of Infowars, we are still on air, and in many ways stronger than ever, exposing the globalist. Our credibility is higher than ever because we accurately predicted what was unfolding and what was happening. Infowars was supposed to be off the air before the globalists stole the election. They've already censored everybody off the internet, but we built our own independent system with radio and TV satellites and hundreds of radio and TV affiliates. And of course, we built Infowars.com, Newswars.com, and Band.video that are reaching millions upon millions of people a day thanks to you. So you've invested in Infowars, and I'm asking you to invest again with word of mouth, with your prayer, and with your financial support while getting great products at the same time at InfoWarsStore.com. Just like the political information we cover is dynamite and game-changing and incredibly accurate, the supplements and nutraceuticals we sell at InfoWarsStore.com are one of a kind. BioTrue Selenium, totally essential for your body. Amazing, the highest quality selenium you're going to find. The PQQ, the CoQ10, and other ingredients in DNA Force Plus are the best you're going to find out there. They clean up your telomeres, your mitochondria, your very cells. DNA Force Plus, back in stock, 50% off. We have the ultimate turmeric formula, Body's 95% curcuminoid. Other competitors are 3 to 5%, still have great results. Look into Body's ultimate turmeric formula and then decide to purchase it to support yourself and your family's health and the InfoWar. Knockout, the incredible sleep aid, 50% off. Turbo Force, 50% off. The incredible, clean, 10-hour energy pack, Turbo Force, back in stock, 50% off, free shipping, triple Patriot points. Ultimate Krill Oil, 33% off. Alpha Power for stamina, libido, energy, focus. It's got so many key compounds. Look into Alpha Power for yourself. Back in stock after a year. InfoWarsStore.com. As Americans, we tend to think of ourselves as invincible. We think our republic's always been here and we're the best in the world just because we won some major battles and been a global power. No, my friends, that makes us that much weaker because all of these powerful interests are attacking us. What makes us strong is realizing our Christian ethos of free market capitalism and Renaissance and the Enlightenment and coming together and understanding we're under attack. And then that makes us almost next to invincible if we have God's Spirit supporting us. But I can tell you, regardless of what happens to President Trump, you are our sponsors. You are our underwriters. Without you, we're not going to be on air. So I've never written ad copy like this in 27 years on air. I'm going to read it right now to you because it's just the truth. It's what I just wrote minutes ago. America is in crisis. Emergency lockdown 2 is coming under Biden. Support InfoWars in the fight against total economic collapse and Biden's martial law disguised as lockdown 2. Up to 60% off, plus free shipping and triple Patriot points and more at InfoWarsStore.com on every major product we've got. DNA Force Plus, Alpha Power back in stock, Body's Ultimate Turmeric Formula, Ultra 12, Vitamin Mineral Fusion, Kava Chill, Super Male Vitality, Super Female, and so many other amazing products. These are game-changing things that the globalists don't want you to have. These are things that are absolutely elemental to what you and your body have to live. But regardless, buying these products from us funds the InfoWars, which is a 360 win. I want to thank you all for your support. I want to ask you to redouble your efforts to spread the word. I want to ask you to buy the products at InfoWarsStore.com today, because without you, we won't be on the air. Again, I salute you and thank you all. The toll-free number is 888-253-3139. Please take action today in our emergency zone.